Hey Embers, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video from me. But in today's video, I thought I would talk to you about my top 5 favourite locations in video games. I do have a couple of honourable mentions because how could you not? This was very, very difficult to compile a top 5 favourite locations, to be honest, but I've managed it. We'll start with one of my favourite games of all time, which is The Elder Scrolls Oblivion, and the place that I chose to pick as my top favourite location is Anvil in Cyrodiil. I always loved the port town of Anvil in Oblivion. It's a place that I would love to live if it was real life, from the architecture, the layout, the mermaid statue, the house that you get, the unique quest that comes with that house. If you know, you know. I don't want to spoil it for you. It can be a little bit annoying at times to navigate Anvil just because I hope this isn't a spoiler, but the main shop is outside of the city gates, whereas when you play Oblivion, you're used to the main shop being inside, or the general trader, I should say. So that can irritate some people. The second, I thought I would stick with the Elder Scrolls theme, actually, and I went for Skyrim. I think this will surprise some of you, but my favourite location in Skyrim is actually Falkreath, if you're talking about the holds. It's an underrated hold, in my opinion. I don't think it's many people's favourites. I think most people would probably put Whiterun in this spot, actually. But I went for Falkreath. The forest setting is just so magical to me. I love the location, again. I love the layout of it, once again. I just think Falkreath as a hold is absolutely beautiful, and it's definitely the place that I would choose to live if I lived in Skyrim. So my honourable mention, I will put one of my honourable mentions here, also comes from Skyrim, and that is Eldergleam Sanctuary. I just think it's absolutely brilliant. I'm not going to talk about it too much because it is a quest-based location, so I don't want to spoil anything for you guys, but I'm a huge fairy core fantasy vibe kind of person, and Eldergleam Sanctuary I just think is absolutely beautiful. So for spot number 3, it will be no surprise to any of you that I picked a location from Draken the Ancient's Gates, as it is my favourite game of all time. This is a little bit of an obvious choice if you are a Draken fan, but I have to say Sedana, largely because of the story of Draken, there aren't many settlements left. So without going into spoiler territory, Sedana is pretty much the only remaining standing settlement in the Draken franchise. I think Sedana is absolutely beautiful. So I am a huge fan of medieval history. I actually did a medieval history master's degree, and Sedana is definitely, well, the world of Draken is heavily inspired by medieval, of course, fantasy with dragons. Kind of Game of Thrones, you know? And I just think the layout of Sedana, like I've said, is absolutely incredible. I will also include, even though it's not in Sedana, the sort of outlying area. So the sort of village that's behind Sedana, the monastery. I'm going to include them because it's my list. I'm going to include them. So we're going to number 4, and this is the first one that's not an RPG, actually. Harvest Moon Back to Nature, another one of my favourite games. Mineral Town. I adore Mineral Town. Now, Mineral Town has featured in a few games, if you're talking about the Harvest Moon franchise. I'm specifically talking about the Mineral Town in Back to Nature. I just love it. It's my dream to live in Mineral Town, honestly. I love everything about it. So I absolutely love Harvest Moon as a game, and the biggest draw for me is not the gameplay. It's the town. I just absolutely love it. I love the people in it. I love the layout of the town and how easy it is to navigate. And I'm actually thinking of recreating Mineral Town in Newcrest in The Sims 4. So if you've played The Sims 4 before, there is a base game world called Newcrest, which has nothing on it. And I'm thinking of recreating Mineral Town. So let's talk about my 5th favourite location in video games, and I chose to go for The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild here. So I'm going to talk to you about my honourable mention first, and then we'll get into the actual place that I picked. My honourable mention for this game is the Great Fairy Fountain near Kakariko Village. It was the first time I'd ever seen a fairy fountain in any Zelda game, never mind in Breath of the Wild. I think fairy fountains are in the other games, right? And I just fell in love. Like I say, I am at heart a cottagecore, fairycore girl, so I absolutely love the Great Fairy Fountain. The fairies that just float around it, the magical ambience, the flowers. I just absolutely love all of the fairy fountains in Breath of the Wild, but the one near Kakariko Village holds a special place in my heart. So let's talk about the location that I actually chose for my favourite location in Breath of the Wild. It's going to come as a little bit of a surprise, I guess, but Gerudo Town is my favourite location in Breath of the Wild. I absolutely love it. I love the desert vibes. I mean, do I like the fact that it's all women? Of course. I do enjoy that a lot. I like the gameplay challenge it presents, the fact that Link shouldn't be there but has to go there, and I don't want to spoil too much of the plot in case you've not played Breath of the Wild, but I do love Gerudo Town. Like I say, the desert vibe is something that I don't really like too much in video games, but it works here. It does work for Gerudo Town. Again, this has a huge history. The history of the Gerudo and Gerudo Town is in multiple Zelda games. I'm just talking about Breath of the Wild here. Again, the layout I think is superb. I remember one of my favourite memories of Breath of the Wild is the class that you can take in Gerudo Town. I find it so funny. So that's it. That's my top 5 favourite locations in video games. I might revisit this in the future at one point and look at maybe another top 5 favourite locations. But if top 5 is too hard for you, my question for you is, what are some of your favourite locations in video games? I would absolutely love to know. So thank you very much for watching, and until next time, bye, EMbers.